Welcome.
G'day, champions. Good morning. How we doing?
We're doing good.
We're doing good.
I've got a William on my lap.
For context, that's a cat.
Yeah.
It's our cat. Big lad. Big sooky lad. He is, as always, here as the co-producer, CEO of the podcast.
That's right.
Cat enforcement officer.
Chief Good Boy.
Welcome to episode E of the A to Z podcast with your lovely, I guess kind of lovely hosts, Zoe and
Alan.
Alan.
And Alan.
Yay.
Yeah.
Thank you everyone for all your awesome answers, by the way, for episode D for dinosaurs. We had a great turnout of favourite dinosaurs on the Twitter. I asked everyone what's your favourite. There's a lot of cool ones, a lot that they'd never heard of before. Went on a bit of a Googling spree afterwards. So thank you for the new creatures to check out. Someone's new favourite dinosaur is a chicken, by the way. So that's pretty cool that we've been able to provide a new favourite for someone.
Was there any new dinosaurs that challenged your previous favourite tier list?
I'll show you a picture of this guy that Tim left a comment about the Basilosaurus or Basilosaurus, which first of all, yeah, its name's Basil, which is pretty sick. But it's like, imagine a really long, like, noodle dolphin.
Danger noodle whale.
Yeah, it is like a whale danger noodle. It is ridiculous, obscenely long, unnecessarily long. I love it. It's thick, and I'm gonna do more Googling on it. But yeah,
it looks like, when kids try to draw something, and
yes.
they totally fuck it up.
Yes.
Yeah, it looks like
If a
some
kid tried to
drew a whale and then someone made it real.
But yeah, thank you guys for your awesome input on dinosaurs. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
So what are we talking about today for episode E, Alan?
So we're talking about Evangelion, or
Ooh.
Neon Genesis Evangelion, but
Ooh.
Evangelion. So
might be a minor niche-ish topic for, like, if you're
not if you're cultured.
in the way of the anime.
It's it's one of my favorite shows, hands down, of all time. And it's considered one of the best animes of all time.
Yeah. If you haven't watched it, I would totally recommend as well. Do go and watch it. We're going to try and avoid spoilers for the most part, I think, in this, but to be safe, I do recommend. Are we doing trigger warning or no?
Yeah, look, we're gonna. It's very complex in terms of the themes it deals with. So we'll just put a warning at the start here. We'll be talking a little bit about mental health and depression, suicide themes.
I guess the show specifically isn't the suicide themes, like not like overtly. It's more like the depression vibe and then stuff around the story. But yeah, heads up, trigger warning if that stuff's a bit heavy for you. Yeah, feel free to skip this ep if it's. But we're not gonna go too crazy deep into that, but it does pop up a fair bit.
And I'm gonna try and avoid spoilers or anything major as well. So if you are a massive fanboy of the show and you're like, well, what about this? Or I might be leaving things out on purpose for someone that may want to watch the show later. So
just quickly as well, if someone wants to watch the show, it's on Netflix now, I think. They put the correct dub back on it, or has it still got the wrong?
No, jumping ahead,
well,
man.
I mean, if someone wants to watch it, they should watch the TV episodes, or like the episodes, then the movie, then the last two episodes.
You're totally jumping ahead.
I'm saying go and watch it. If someone wants to pause right now and go and watch it, what's the correct order?
Well, it'll take them like a month, but you would watch the original series.
Yeah.
Then the end of Evangelion movie, and then the rebuilds.
Rock and roll, Alan, take it away. What's an Evangelion? How does that work?
So, as I said, a lot of this is my general interpretation of what's going on in the show. I kind of touched on that there could be some hardcore fans of the show out there that are tuning in. They may disagree with my interpretation of things. Build a bridge. Get over it. I may...
What is Evangelion?
The show's premise, it has some quasi-religious themes to it. So you've got these baddies. And they're called the angels. And in essence, they're a monster of the week type thing. They're giant and they're powerful and they're self-sufficient. And they're apparently the cause of this thing called the second impact. Evangelions are these giant kind of mecha robots that people have made to fight the angels and stop them, because they're apparently wanting to cause a third impact, which will wipe out the whole world.
Like a literal just big explosion, bad time, world's gone kind of vibe. Like, we want to prevent that.
Yeah, so just to backtrack, the first impact is apparently the meteor that hit Earth that killed all the dinosaurs.
Ah, we're tying in. Look out.
The story that's told to the general masses in the show is that second impact occurred, and that was another meteor that hit the Earth. So yeah, the story told to the general masses is a second impact occurred, which is another meteor that hit the Earth, melted the polar ice caps, which killed sort of 2 billion people.
Oof.
And then there was a bunch of shortage in resources, which then caused wars, which killed another couple of billion people.
Oh, just a casual couple of billion, yeah.
So when you find yourself at the start of the show, you'll sort of see they're in Tokyo, but a lot of it's flooded. There's a lot of weird climate stuff going on. Yeah, it's generally a bad time.
It's a bit like not like Blade Runner dystopian, like future tech. It's like current dystopian. Like if we had the current tech of today, sort of thing. I guess. Like if you were to go to not the middle of Tokyo, but I guess like outskirts Tokyo, it looks like the show looks like what it looks like now, sort of thing. Like current technology. Obviously, we don't have giant fighting robots yet, but like it's not like future dystopian. It's like current dystopia sort of vibe, where it's like regular life, but everyone's kind of like, oh, we got to, if the sirens go off, we got to go hide in the bunker sort of vibe, like that. Yeah? Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the general thing is...
So, like, overall plot arc is we want to prevent these angel monsters from making a third explosion, therefore we're going to get some robots to fight them off.
Yeah, so as I was trying to say, the general public don't know this, but the second impact was caused by humans being curious and trying to mess around with an angel called Adam. They made contact with it and it created the second impact. So he just like supernovaed and blew up in Antarctica. So all the school kids and stuff are told, yep, second impact was a meteor that hit the Earth. As we learn when Shinji is introduced as this pilot that has to pilot the robot, they kind of explain, look, this is the sitch. Angels are coming back. They're trying to get to Adam or something that we've got in our underground base. And if the angels get to that and reach their goal, third impact will happen, and this time it'll be lights out. The whole world's going to end. Just
like, I guess as well, to paint a word picture about a visual medium, the angels, like you might be using the thought in your brain of like, oh, angel, pretty beacon of God. No, these things are like so varied, but also just kind of horrid monstrosities. Almost one's just like a giant floating orb prism, I think. Yeah. One's like a weird goo monster. There's kind of like more I don't want to even say, none of them really true. They're all very unique designs, but like they're not like a literal like ooh angel with wings. Like they are these weird, like almost Lovecraftian kind of like, well, maybe like just odd creatures that are like insanely powerful and all have kind of like different abilities and stuff. Yeah,
like the creators of the show worked a lot with doing Godzilla, Mega Man or Ultraman or some kind of thing like a Japanese show where it's like they've got people dressed in suits and then all the sets are miniature, so they look like giant monsters fighting and stuff.
Kind of like Power Ranger vibes? Or
kind of, yeah. So they were pretty heavily influenced by that in terms of their designs. So I guess to get into the because it's really weird, you watch the show and they're like saying all this stuff that sounds religious. So basically you've got the angels, they're the baddies. It's not really a big spoiler, but basically like the first impact wasn't a meteor in the show. It's actually Lilith. So Lilith landed on the Earth. She came in pretty hot.
She killed the dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Lilith killed the dinosaurs. It wasn't the aliens, it was Lilith.
So,
damn.
And Lilith is the progenitor of humans. So the way to look at it is like the angels are big, powerful, almost godlike. Lilith is like not powerful and godlike, but she's big brain. So intelligence, consciousness, self-aware, can create, design things, and so on.
Right.
The whole thing is generally you can't combine the angel and Lilith together because it would be too powerful. You'd be making a god, basically.
Right.
And they think that's what causes the world to end. Because it's like, no, you went too far. You're over. So the whole idea is mankind have made these giant super weapon robot things that can combat the angels and stop them in their goal. So yeah, first episode, you're kind of introduced to this spooky organization called Nerve. So Nerve own all the robots and they gather these children that can pilot them. So the main characters are Shinji, Rei, and Oscar. So they pilot the Evangelions, and I guess every episode, sometimes, it's Shinji piloting and taking on one, or sometimes they have to work together. And yeah, these kids are, I guess, pretty troubled. So they all had some kind of mishaps or horrible background happening in their childhood by chance, but
main character, tragic past story kind of backstory thing.
They basically, they're 14 or 15. Pretty much they've got all of humanity's existence resting on their shoulders.
Yeah, so just,
they don't
casual.
They don't handle it very well sometimes.
Yeah, understandable. Understandable.
So there's a lot of content to dive into. So there's 26 episodes from the original series. There's two theatrical movies. So there's one called Death and Rebirth. That's basically, you don't really need to watch it. It's basically just a recap of the 26 episodes. It's literally like...
Previously on Evangelion.
It's literally like episode for episode. Masato, one of the characters, is basically almost doing like a mission debrief recap of what happened every angel up until now. So that's called Death and Rebirth. Probably not essential viewing. The end of Evangelion is... It's basically the
title is The End of Evangelion. Yeah.
And I'll go into a bit more information about that later. And then you've got the more recent content, which is the 4 rebuilds. So they're basically a reimagining or different timeline, perhaps, of the original series. So I'd recommend, as I said earlier, watch the original series. Watch the entire original series, then watch the end of Evangelion. And the end of Evangelion's kind of a funny, or not funny, but
curious.
a curious happening.
Why?
Sorry, you had a question.
Why? I was going to say why.
Okay, so when Hideaki Anno made the original series, fans were very mad with the way he ended it.
Fans mad. Ended the TV, ended this episode series.
Yeah. Because there is a lot of themes of depression and anxiety and perception and how you see yourself and how other people see you. And the last 2 episodes were like a big kind of psychological mindfuck, for lack of a better term, which ended with, Shinji kind of, with the budget they had, that was his interpretation of, the world nearly ended. Like, that's what this looks like when a big catastrophic event happens and it's so horrific that everyone kind of loses their perception of what they are. And so with the budget he had, he's like, cool, that's how I'm going to do it. And it was basically like Shinji sitting in a room for 2 episodes, kind of having a philosophical debate or something with the other characters. And fans were mad. They thought it was
mad.
They thought it was lazy, potentially spiteful, like, oh, you're just doing it as a bit of a meme to mess with your audience.
Right.
So yeah, there was a lot of bullying, death threats. I'll touch on that in a sec, but yeah, anyway, he was like, oh, okay, well, didn't like that. I'll make a feature-length movie, and as the title suggests, I'm going to make you graphically see everybody that you love in the show get killed horrifically.
Nice. I mean, that's one way to I guess, yeah, look.
Do you want to use your imagination? Let me paint you a picture.
Let me paint you a nice, pretty picture.
So yeah.
There's the moral of the story, kids. First of all, don't send death threats to creators of anything. Second of all, because they can just ruin the thing that you love because you're an asshole to them. They have the power to make that happen. Far out.
So that's probably a good segue to go into controversies. So the Netflix dub, fans mad again.
Bless. Oh yeah. Well, look, honestly, it was a bad dub.
Yeah. So in essence, from what I understand, Netflix bought some rights to the show, but then they're like, actually, we don't want to pay the licensing for some of the original voice actors and stuff. And then, we don't want to pay the licensing. So every episode, the show would end with a cover of Fly Me to the Moon by Frank Sinatra. And Netflix obviously doesn't have enough money to pay the licensing for that. So that song is not in any of the Netflix.
Oh, really?
dub.
That's like one of the best bits. Is just like
it's not even in the Ultimate Edition you bought me.
Oh, are you serious? Well, we can't afford the one sweet little Japanese lady singing Fly Me
Sometimes it was Masato, Ray, and Oscar singing it as a little duet or trio. So
they just couldn't. How can Anime Man afford the rights to that, but Netflix cannot be bothered to pay the rights for that song? Or was there just like a licensing issue?
I think it must. I don't know if they asked for too much or if they said, no, we don't want you to have the song on the show because of toxic fans or something. Who knows? But anyway, the Netflix dub, like, respect to all the voice actors in it. You probably, I'm sure you did your best.
It's just more that it didn't line up with what people were used to for the tone and stuff, I think.
Yeah, like imagine something's like your comfort show that you watch and then someone's like...
uses Microsoft Sam voiceover or something.
Yeah, like you're watching Pokemon and Ash comes on the screen and it's just me going, what's going on, mate? It'd just be really jarring. Yeah. And it'd be like, that's not right.
Yeah, not that it was necessarily like objectively bad. It's just not what... Yeah. I think I turned on the Netflix. I was like, oh, it's on Netflix. Let's have a peep. And I put it on and I was like, what is wrong with Masato's voice? There was just something... And I like went back and listened to the original. I was like, oh, like, because Masato's got this very, I'd say deeper-ish, more like authoritarian kind of voice where she's like very fun and friendly, but she's like very just like to the point and curt with her language and her voice. But then this is like, I'm trying to recall a memory from how long ago. I'm pretty sure like the Netflix dub of Masato is very much like, oh my God, Shinji, like it's so nice to meet you. Like really weirdly poppy American. Like it was so happy. And I'm like, she has a lot of happy moments, but she's not like
only when she's drunk.
Yeah, but she's not like... even then she's like, yeah, let's get on the terps. Like, let's have some bevies. Like, she's not like, oh my God, bevies. Like, that's just not her tone. Yeah, so it was very jarring of like, oh, that's just doesn't... The voice, I'm sure, is fine. Voice actor, fine, but it just doesn't match that personality that you're used to. Yeah. Same for if I did that accent for this whole podcast and I was like, oh my God, guys, are you guys ready to learn about Evangelion? Like, it would be very jarring because that's not my voice, or what you're used to. Yeah.
So, Evangelion fans can be quite toxic.
I feel like that's most things nowadays.
Which we'll explore in a moment. But yeah, the whole Netflix dub, there was some retranslations. So apparently Ray, the voice actress for Ray, actually did some of the interpretation as well.
Cool.
And she went on like a Twitter rant basically saying fanboys have been like giving her shit for like misinterpreting or mistranslating things.
Right.
So that whole thing ended with her telling the fans to go eat a dick and shut the fuck up and translate it yourself.
As in the original Ray voice actor?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, okay. So what, they were having a sook because she didn't copy-paste the words from the previous, like from the original, like she reinterpreted some things, or... Yeah,
like I think she was actually like, oh, well, the original may not have been accurate, so I've changed it a bit. But she's like, basically, I've been putting up with your crap for 20 years and just went off.
Good on her.
So some people were like, oh, it's a bit harsh, but...
After 20 years of dealing with toxic fans, yeah, honestly. Once again. sit down and shut up and just enjoy the bread that's given to you.
So,
oh my god.
So yeah, Hideaki Anno was the creator of the show, and he had some pretty severe mental health issues when he was writing the show. So as I kind of touched on before, there's a lot of themes of, perception, consciousness, anxiety and depression and thoughts of suicide. He's done interviews now where he's more or less said like he poured his heart and soul into the show, and there's pieces of him in all the characters. And he was just an emotional wreck after the show finished because of the backlash.
Understandably.
So not only was him and his family were getting death threats, but there were like whole online threads of people like discussing the best ways to track him down and find him and how they were going to kill him. People saying, I think he lives in this area and, we could scope out the train or the subway or whatever.
Jesus Christ. I guess that's almost like, besides that just being concerning, getting death threats, like there have been several stabbings or like attacks on creators and artists and in Japan, hasn't there? I think like there's been a few instances of like deranged fans going to XYZ production studio and like attacking staff. I think there was one instance where someone went and like tried to burn down a studio and stuff. So it's like that's pretty concerning, especially because people have acted on those things, like genuinely acted upon those things in the past.
Yeah. So
once again, don't do that.
Basically, in an interview, he more or less said the stress got to him so badly that he either nearly or tried to throw himself in front of a train and also tried to jump off a building, but then he didn't sort of ever go through with it completely because he was scared of feeling pain. So he's a very complicated guy. He has a love-hate relationship with his art, which I definitely get. Like as he said, he sees himself in the characters he creates, and after he's put it down on paper, so to speak, and then, like Shinji's often perceived as like not being assertive, being weak. Those are things that the creator saw in himself, like character flaws that he put into his characters. And he sort of said, yeah, I love some of the work I create, and other stuff like I can't stand to look at it after I've got it out. Which kind of brings us to the rebuilds.
Right. I've watched like the first part of the rebuilds, I think. I'm locked in to watch all of them with you at some point soon. I think the first thing I ever saw was one of the rebuilds, and I was like, I don't really like this that much, and then watched the original series, and I was like, oh, this is like outstanding. So yeah, again, definitely if you're going to go watch it, watch the original TV episode by episode first. Don't start with the rebuilds. Don't, because it's like the whole first season is compressed into like one disc.
Yeah.
Like one
movie.
One movie, for the rebuilds.
Yeah, more or less. So look, they announced that they were doing these rebuilds, which, as I kind of touched on before, it was like not really a remake. It's a reimagining or an alternate timeline. Yeah. So there are 4 of them. The first one pretty much covers what we've seen so far in kind of an edited, cut down way. And then pretty much rebuild 2, 3, and 4 are totally new territory. So a lot of people weren't keen on it when they announced them. They just said, oh, look, it's just a cash grab. But he's sort of spoken about it since, and from what I could interpret from what he said, it was a situation where, as we touched on, when he made the original show, he was very depressed and struggling with a lot of things. That in essence he felt the takeaway from the original series was, the world is cruel and harsh, and it's not going to pan out like a fairy tale, but it's still worth fighting and not giving up. So it was very dark. The rebuilds are created by, I guess, a less troubled Anno. So he's reimagined the show in an alternate timeline. There's a new character. So
the pink Power Ranger.
Yeah,
the pink
Mari.
Girl.
She's actually based off his wife, apparently.
Aww.
So she helped him out of his depression and mental health, and I think she actually encouraged him to do the rebuilds. So he was like, oh, it was a big regret, like the way I finished that show, and it still such a controversial topic, and she's like, well, go and fix it then.
Plus, with like 20 years of independent growth, like as a human, like obviously, thankfully, he didn't go through with like suicide or anything, but like you change so much in a year versus 20 years. Like he's probably like evolved so much as himself and as, Shinji and Oscar and Rei and all the characters. Like things have changed. Like he's, as an artist, like having that power to make an alternate timeline or to, reimagine or reshare how you want it to be with different lenses is pretty cool.
Yeah, and I think there's an overall theme in the show, particularly in the last of the rebuilds, which I was like so worried about, and I was really happy. I think the next day I told you I'd watched it, and I was like, I'm actually really happy with what they did with it. But there is basically a theme in there where it's sort of like, live your life, let things go, don't obsess over fandoms and stuff that isn't real, and just sort of live. And I thought that was pretty cool because I think he's aware of how toxic that otaku anime communities can be, where people trash people just for liking an anime or something that they don't like. You see it. You see it online all the time.
Oh my god, you like Pokemon?
Yeah.
Oh my
so
god,
it's
you like insert any hobby ever.
Yeah. So he's like, just get on with your life, basically. It's okay to like things, but let stuff go. And yeah, I was very, very happy and surprised with the ending of the rebuilds. So don't avoid them if you haven't watched them. If you're like, no, the original series is flawless. It's definitely worth watching it, I think.
If you can hear in the background, hopefully probably not with this new microphone, but in the background, you can hear the Australian cicadas going off. I think like one of the things as well, like are we going to talk about the art and the sounds and stuff or can I bring that up here?
You can bring it up here and then we can go on to what I was going to talk about afterwards.
Yeah. Like the sound design for Evangelion, like the visuals are great, like the art style is fantastic, the animation is great as well, like I love all the OG, like the robot fights, just like the hand drawn but still just like such a cool movement to things, but like the sound, especially like the cicadas in Japan, like it's a very like it's such a iconic sound of Japan. And then like just, the Shinji's crossing the road, the boop 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 boop, like all of the little sounds of Japan, like all of it is it's so bizarre because it's like insanely real. Like if you go to Japan, like these are the exact sounds that you will hear sort of thing, but then it's
so weird.
It's such a like, but it's being presented in such a like kind of sad overtone for the show, where it's like when you're traveling and you're in Japan, you're like, oh my god, all these like cool things and the cicadas are so cool and loud, but it's like almost everything else is muted except for these like kind of key sounds that as Shinji's talking in his own head for dealing with things, but like just the kind of like soundtrack to his life is these little like like very cool, very very cool. Recommend. Again, go watch it.
Yeah, you just you just popped something into my head about the sounds and stuff.
Yeah.
And Shinji.
Yeah.
Shinji's always going around with his Walkman with his headphones plugged in. Just shutting the world out sort of thing. And I just thought people may or may not have noticed that his Walkman is constantly cycling track 25, track 26, track 25, track 26. That's all you ever see it playing is track 25, track 26. There's 26 episodes in the show.
Right.
In the rebuilds, you see him reading or listening to the thing and it goes to 27.
Oh.
So it's kind of like...
He's finally...
But even from the first episode, 25, 26, he'd planned it out.
Yeah. You never hear what's on the track either. I guess it's just more implied that it's like...
Yeah.
He's in his own head, like just redoing or re-going over things, yeah.
So yeah, as you know, I'm a musician. I make the music.
Yep.
So yeah, the music of Evangelion. For me, it was one of the first animes I'd encountered when it has not only the best opening theme song of all time.
Literally, yes.
but really high budget sounding compositions, like orchestral haunting music, which is very, very much a vibe. I can just listen to it for hours, and when I go to the gym and stuff, I listen to the soundtrack. The theme song is called A Cruel Angel's Thesis.
Literally pause this podcast right at the risk of losing all of you right now and never coming back because you go on a rabbit hole. Pause right now and go type it into whatever and listen to the theme song. Like, if you want to get hyped up for, like, you're going out on the town tonight, we're going to get, like, hyped up, listen to that song.
Yeah.
If you're about to get married and walk down the aisle, like, listen to that song. If you're about to, like, anything, you got to get your day started. I don't want to do my chores. Put that song on.
Yeah.
It is the definition of a bop. Like, it is great.
Yeah.
It is a jam.
So it became one of the most famous Japanese anime songs ever.
Rightfully so.
Remains a popular karaoke song. Any karaoke bar in Japan, they'll have it. And it's in a lot of those arcade beat games as well.
Oh, yeah.
Like Dance Revolution or the tapping ones.
Taiko drum things and stuff.
So the original vocalist, Yoko Takahashi, has even performed the song at like an anime convention in LA as recent as 2020.
That's all. Oh, that's
so
awesome.
It's like 25 or 26 years old when this song came out. So it's got legs.
I would dare say, if we're going to compare other anime intro songs, I would say everyone knows the Pokemon intro song. Everyone should know the Evangelion intro.
Yeah.
If Pokemon theme song is like A+ for like nostalgia and everyone's singing along, Evangelion is like the S++ super diamond, like encrusted. Like, it is outstanding.
Yeah. So it's been covered by a lot of famous Japanese artists. I came across one that was really, really good. I don't know if we can put a link to it or something, but it had over 10.5 million views.
Wow. And
one of my favorite comments on it was, this girl's pronunciation is clearer than my future. She sings like really, really well. You're like, man, that's the words, all right. I don't speak Japanese, but
them's the words.
Them's the words.
Do you have the name of the person or?
No, because it's all the whole description's in Japanese.
Right. Okay. I'll see if we can like.
But it's one of the first results if you look up Cruel Angel's Thesis cover.
Okay.
Really cool. But yeah, to the point, like when we were in Japan, we were staying with one of our friends there, and Kyoko's husband saw me wearing an Evangelion shirt when he was driving us to the airport, and he started like singing it.
Yeah.
And yeah, if you look it up, you look up the name of the song, you'll even see like the JSDF, so the Japanese military and Coast Guard, they play it at their big, official military balls. And
wow.
Like, it's like, but they'll have their full Navy orchestra playing
like
it.
The band.
Yeah.
Wild.
It's really ingrained in their culture. And I think it was recently voted like third in the most unforgettable anime themes.
Third?
Yeah.
Is that just because a lot of people haven't seen it? I'm going to say that's
Maybe.
Because some people probably haven't watched it.
They can't handle the content.
I know. Third.
So.
Who came first?
I don't know. So a bit about, I guess, talking about the culture of it, advertising and culture in Japan. I've seen anime-themed snacks, coffee, drinks, alcohol. I've got a limited edition bottle of shochu that's in like the bottle's like a Unit 1, Evangelion Unit 1 sort of long square bottle. There are trains.
Yeah, the
bullet painted.
Trains have got the full like wrap.
Yeah.
I guess as a visual for you guys as well, like in the show, there's like the robot, the Avas. Each of the kids has like a corresponding Ava, and I guess like slightly different design, but like color scheme with it. So like Shinji's got the purple bot, Asuka's got the red one, Ray's got the white and blue. Yeah, so they've got like very, I guess, identifiable air quotes branding. Like they've got a very If you saw like the purple robot with the green stripe, like that's like Evangelion Unit 1. Like that's you can like pretty. So like they've got the bullet trains Or did they do a plane as well at one point? Or was it just the trains?
They did.
They had a whole series of trains that we missed by like a week. I think we had left early, but yeah.
They do bullet trains. They've got the regular train that's a Ray themed one,
Oh, nice.
like the square looking train. They've sold Mazdas and cars with Evangelion, like with Ray in Unit 1,
Yeah.
sort of like Unit 0 kind of crouching and running, and then the cars like racing it and stuff.
That's wild.
There's an Evangelion themed museum sort of thing that we went to in
Yes.
Fuji, Evangelion World.
They've closed that down, I think, haven't they? Yeah.
But they opened a new one in Kyoto that has a Unit 1 the size of a building. They've built a like 2 scale Unit 1.
serious?
Yeah.
Can we go?
Oh, when we can leave our country,
Yeah.
sure.
Which is now.
Yeah, true.
I think Japan's not letting.
Yeah.
Japan, can we come in? Hello?
Please.
Japan, let me in. That's wild. I want to go see that. That's cool.
So yeah, I guess the following is just some trivia or questions.
Yeah. Hit me.
So-
Or is it a pop quiz?
Oh, no,
Just
it's
hit me.
not really questions as
okay.
such as just little
Okay.
tidbits. Zoe, did
Yes.
you know that originally Rei was meant to be the main character?
I did not.
And
That's kinda cool.
Shinji was just going to be introduced later as like still Gendo's son. But like he wasn't going to be the main guy.
Right. I guess major plot point, but not spoiler. Like Shinji's dad is running NERV, like running the organization that's like
Estranged father that
yeah,
wants,
severely strained relationship.
doesn't want anything to do with him. Basically just dumps him somewhere
Yeah.
after his mum dies, and then he just says, "Come back and pilot this thing."
Yeah.
But like won't give him the time of day, and is just generally a bit of a prick.
Yeah, and it's mostly out of necessity. Like probably if he could have anyone else do it, he would. But it's like necessary for Shinji to be the pilot of the robot. Yeah.
But yeah, Rei
0 out of 10, not dad of the year.
Ray's a really cool character, and
Yeah.
it's actually now, she was so iconic in terms of, fame in Japan that it's actually like a character development plot thing for other like movies, animes, TV shows. Like, he's a Han Solo type,
Yeah, right.
the Rei Ayanami type of just like quiet and a bit kind of withdrawn and spooky. So yeah, she I don't know at what point they decided to change their idea and make Shinji the main character, but anyway. The show was originally going to be a longer run. So it was originally going to be 28 angels, but there was only 17.
That's
in the
that's a
final.
lot if there was going to be that many. Like, good lord.
They had budget issues, production time restraints, and
Right.
apparently a lot of the shows, a lot of episodes got cut because, Anno was, as we've touched on, a bit depressed and or a lot. But like some of the episodes were like, oh look man, the theme to this is too similar to the sarin gas attacks in the subway in Japan.
Right.
Or-
Okay.
Because he was just obviously consuming media and what's going on in the world and writing. And then the studio was like, nah, man, we can't.
Can't touch
Can't
that sort
do
of
that.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Far out.
So a lot of stuff got cut.
Right.
Or never got to sort of final production.
Yeah.
I didn't know this one. The 3 main characters, so Shinji, Rei, and Oscar, they're all named after World War II warships.
Oh, really?
Yep, so there was the Ayanami, the Langleyen, or the Langley, and the Akari. They're all,
All their last names. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
so
Wild.
I didn't know that.
That's so many levels of metaphor for all of it. Hey, the religion and the war and all of it, multi-layered.
The Japanese voice actress who played Oscar, there is a scene
Yep.
in a movie where she gets strangled
Oh, you just in some random movie.
in the end of Evangelion.
Oh, sorry.
There's
I thought you meant like
there's
a
a
different
scene in
Yep.
the...
Yep.
Anyway, the actress said, oh, you should strangle me in the vocal booth for real.
Oh my god.
And then the guy playing the person doing the strangling, he was really down about his acting ability, and he getting told he wasn't doing the scene properly, and
Because he didn't want to choke out his co-worker, or
this is before.
Oh, okay,
and then
okay.
she said, "Oh, why don't you just strangle me to like get the words out?"
Get into the
Yeah, he almost killed her by accident.
Shit. No joke. You're telling me that someone strangling someone else might have almost killed someone via strangling?
Yeah. And he was like,
Crazy.
they're both all good about it. They were like, ha 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 now. But at the time they were like, oh, she passed out and
Jesus.
like injured her throat. And
Far out.
yeah, I was like,
Yeah, maybe if
wow.
your job is to do with your voice and your throat, like maybe don't
let someone crush
jeopardize
your larynx.
Yeah. Well, I guess on the plus side, technically it does. You know what? It does take a long time apparently to strangle people, and not just like and to like actually KO, not just pass out. So that's pretty lucky that she didn't. Something worse didn't happen. But talk about getting into character. Far out.
So what else? In my research for this podcast, I found that there are so many batshit crazy people out there that make up crazy things. And then there's a whole website basically dedicated to debunking claims that people have made about Evangelion. So
Like just making up fake facts or like fanfic
just
stuff.
people just so deep into it that they're like, yeah, and then like other people in the fandom
Evangelion
believe it.
prophesies the moon landing. You can see in episode 7 when the blah, like that kind of that intensity. Or
so,
like,
for example, the angels in the show have the AT field.
yeah, it's like a barrier, like a protective barrier,
Yeah, it's like
magical
a
shield.
force field.
Yeah.
So there's something going around saying that the AT field is based off actual psychology terminology that they use for real in the medical industry.
Was that sarcasm or was that like literally there's terminology?
No, that this is the debunked bullcrap claims.
Oh, okay.
Saying that like the AT field is what they refer to with autistic or children on the spectrum that have like a
We just
mental
got to break
barrier.
through that mental barrier, man, and we can like.
But someone's like,
right.
yeah, it's in like psychology books, and then like you Google it. No, it's not.
Right.
Like, it's
yeah,
not.
Okay.
So
Good Lord.
other people have said, the Evangelions are designed off Judeo-Christian like barons of hell artwork, and it's like, not really.
Yeah.
I mean, you could probably say an Evangelion looks like any kind of demon or oni. Like,
yeah.
It looks, especially Unit 1, looks very much like a samurai demon or something.
Yeah.
With his helmet. Like, it looks like the old samurai helmets and stuff. But there's a lot of misinformation and bogus claims out there about the show and what things are based on. And so, enter with caution.
So the angels have autism is what you're telling me?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. And they've got to break through that barrier to cure the autism
Then
because that's a thing that needs to be cured apparently. Yeah.
Then they can take them to the casino and they can count cards or something.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. This is sarcasm.
Yeah, there is also talk of a live action adaptation, and I hope it never happens.
Sweet baby Jesus, don't let that ever happen. Don't let it happen. It's never been good. Has anyone ever done a live action?
Death Note, it was so good.
Remember that scene with the Ferris wheel? Like, has there ever been a good live action anime? Like, they've all been horrific, categorical failures. At least,
no.
I mean, have they ever succeeded in? Did they succeed in Japan? Because I don't think they succeeded in the Western air quotes.
I'm not sure. But yeah,
just don't do it.
There's a lot of funny.
It sucks so bad.
There's a lot of funny photoshops of like Chris Pratt as Gendo and is it Michael Cena?
Michael Cera
As Shinji.
Jesus
Or
Christ.
Tom Holland as Shinji.
Oh my god.
And what's her name? The Black Widow from Black Widow. she can just be like all the female characters, with wigs on. Yeah. Just get ScarJo in there.
Yeah, she's got heaps of background acting as a Japanese woman.
She does.
Yeah.
Because she did Ghost in the Shell.
That was the joke.
That she can play two Japanese female majors. But yeah.
Don't let it ever happen.
So,
that would be, air quotes, the end of Evangelion. If they did that, I might genuinely no longer be a fan of them.
Yeah. Or just pretend it doesn't
repress,
exist.
Yeah. Repress. Like Dragon Ball fans.
But that's that was another great anime adaptation.
The Dragon Ball.
Dragon Ball. Yeah.
Is it even like? Because I've never seen it. I've never seen scenes from the Dragon Ball live thing, and you can just see from a still that it's cringe. Is it like funny bad of like make a drinking game, or just like pretend it doesn't exist?
For me, it was one of those experiences where I remember I was at a friend's place, and it was like my friend and his girlfriend were there, and we'd hide the movie from the video shop. Showing my age here. But me and my mate used to watch the Dragon Ball Z anime, and she's like, "What's this thing about?" And it's like, "Oh man, like it's one of our favorite shows."
I swear it's not like that normally
on the morning cartoons. Yeah, and then it was just like, "It's not even like that."
Don't you're like,
why is Goku white?
Was it like the actor as well? My guess is that he just looks like one of those. He's got like hair out of NSYNC, like the tips. He
looks like a McDonald's.
Let's go, Gohan, and let's save the day.
He looks like a McDonald's store manager circa 2003, with the ski jump, like gelled hairdo,
the frosted tips, like the up hair,
it was like, no, it's not. No, that's not what it's about. That's
not what it's about. You're like feverishly trying to dig through your VHS tapes to find an anime version of it. Here's an episode of Dragon Ball. Put this on. No, I'm not interested. No, please, you gotta watch this. Please, it's not like that.
Just watch this fight with Frieza. Look how cool it is. Like, this is what it's about.
I swear.
Not this. Like, yeah. So
far out.
Anyway, that's pretty much the end of my research. I reckon people will listen to this and still go, yes, I don't really know what it's about still.
We don't want to spoil it, but like,
you just got to watch it. I happened across this show.
I'd say even if you're not into the whole, like, I feel like even just saying it's a robot show, like, it doesn't. Like, no. I don't like Gundam stuff or robot. Get the robot. I never liked Power Rangers as a kid. I just couldn't get into it because I didn't find it's not like that. Like, you can see where it kind of like touches points with those things for visuals, but it's not a robot fight show. Like, that's almost secondary to the human drama.
Yeah, like I know heaps of people that have avoided it because they're like, I'm not really into like the mech robot. That's like the surface of the show. But yeah, like I came across this show as a young teen. It just happened to be screening on TV, like free to air. And I was like, oh, what is this show? And I think I caught the second episode and I was like, wow, it's really cool. It's and like for me at the time as well, I think we'd just moved state and I'd moved away from all my friends and I was probably a bit down and I just sort of identified with all the characters. It's a fantastic show. Go watch it, trust me.
I think as like maybe a comparison, like if you were just to surface level say Evangelion is a robot show, would be like saying Squid Game is a game of The Price is Right. Like, it's not like, yeah, sure, Squid Game's about a game, like a contest game, but that's the very tippy toppy surface. There's a whole hell of a lot more happening on, like, that would be my like equivalent, is like Evangelion is not just punchy robots. It's like, it's great, the themes are in depth, the characters are great, the Misato has a penguin.
Yes.
And drinks beer with her penguin. Well, does the penguin drink? But he's just kind of there. She drinks beer and the penguin is there.
I don't know if he drinks or not.
The penguin
but
drinks.
He lives in he's got like a
cool
compartment
room
in the freezer.
Yeah.
And he's got like a little apartment inside the apartment that he goes in. He's awesome.
Pen gang. Pen is great.
That's the messed up thing. Like when all the stuff's going down and the world's ending, you're like, where's Pen?
Oh, don't.
Who's looking after
Oh,
Pen?
God. Oh, God. Pen, get in the robot. Keep him safe.
He's great.
Yeah. Go watch it. Legit. Go watch it. If for nothing else than because it is like a piece of art. Like,
yes. And
a piece of pop culture kind of thing, I reckon. It's up there. And the theme song. Go listen to the theme song. Do it.
Yeah. We can't sort of play stuff through the podcast, can we?
Poorly go. Ba, 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 ba.
I've got to show you this cover after we get
Yeah,
off here. It's really
sounds
good.
I'm going to look it up.
Then you'll see what the guy meant about the clearer than my future.
It's like next level audio recording equipment. Meanwhile, we keep scuffing week to week, just getting the one microphone to function correctly. Yeah, we're doing great. Thank you, Alan. I learned many new things about this show.
No worries. Sorry it was a bit disjointed, but it's a very complicated show, and it is very hard to explain what it's about.
We could do an episode E rebuild once people have watched it, and we can talk about spoilers. It'd be like a sub
next round.
next season. Well, Eurovision's on the cards for next round. I think Lav was very disappointed that it wasn't Eurovision for this. Maybe what if we
can
go
do
like
it for N? That's
Neon
that's your homework, guys. Go watch the entire compendium of all the Evangelion content.
You've got several weeks.
And then when we get to N, so we'll be doing Metal Gear Solid and then Neon Genesis recap. I
think we could almost do as well. This is me like changing the format of the show on the fly, but like A to Z, right? The season is A to Z, and then like at the end of our alphabet we get to like the exclamation mark, question mark, where it's like any questions throughout the whole, first A to Z season we go through. Mm-hmm. Who had questions about Baba Yaga or things to add or dinosaur things that we learnt or got wrong or corrected, or we can go into some spoil boys for...
Maybe.
We could do a megasode.
Maybe every episode we should say, like we are now, hit me with all your questions, and then, gather the questions weekly and don't answer them until...
the end of them.
Yeah, and then we can just do a whole podcast of...
Exclamation.
Fielding questions.
The full stop to the season. Ho-ho, nice.
So next week...
Yes.
On Dragon Ball Z, we're talking about fear?
Yes, F. Get your feelings freaked out because we're going to be talking about fears. And I guess technically probably phobias as well, and the difference. And we're gonna reveal all of our deepest, darkest concerns, or how to deal with them. I guess maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
Fears. You like spiders? Probably not.
Does not constitute as psychological advice. Please seek medical practitioner.
Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you, Alan, for bringing the info on the Evangelion.
That's okay.
As always, you want to find us on the Twitter, where we are severely incompetent. At podcast A to Z, A number 2 Z, is where you can find us on the tweets, or you can, chuck us questions, whatever it may be over there. You can find us independently. I'm at Zoe 2 Dots on most of the things. Alan is at Alan Surprise and or Alan Kingdom Music, wherever you want to find him. Yeah. And thank you guys for tuning in to episode E.
Thanks, guys.
Have a good one. Bye.